Good morning and greetings from Northumberland. It's a beautiful, still morning with a lovely sunrise this morning. It's just about sunrise according to the thing on my watch that tells me when the sun rises. The sun rises today on the 2nd of November, the Feast of All Souls. Combined with yesterday's Feast of All Saints, we remember that as Christians we deal not only with the physical, not only with the earthly, but we deal and encounter the heavenly. Alongside this, we get the news that from Wednesday evening, our public worship looks set to be suspended by the government. And many of us understand this, but also many of us feel particularly frustrated about it, because our public worship isn't a gathering like a golf club or a pub or anything else. It's something much more powerful and much more important to the well-being of individuals, and indeed, I would say, to the well-being of the nation. Through the dark days of this year, colleagues of mine have accompanied grieving families as they've sought to make sense of the death of a loved one, not only through COVID, but in many other circumstances, but with that sadness tinged by the whole COVID situation and the restrictions around it. I'm very pleased that our churches are able to stay open after Thursday morning, and our churches here will be open every day for people to come and pray if they so wish. And particularly at this next weekend, as we mark Remembrance Sunday in a day unprecedented since it began after the First World War. Things will be very different. I would have hoped that we as churches could have continued to offer our prayer, our worship, our support, and our help to people in a very COVID secure way, because we worked hard to make it possible to worship safely. We've done things very differently, people more spaced out, people wearing masks, people sitting down rather than standing up to avoid the transmission of aerosol spray, a more quiet and reflective worship in many ways, but something that is important, and that's why so many people, even in these difficult times, have continued to be able to turn up week by week or fortnight by fortnight. Sadly, this seems that it will have to stop. But I will be trying to, each Sunday during this season, produce a Eucharist from one of the churches, which is permitted, on the internet. Whether I'll be able to do this live or whether we will have to film it and then send it out a few minutes later, I'm not quite sure. We may try and we may make a mess of it this week, but we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can to try to help people through this period. Above all, we need to know that God is with us in these difficult times. One of the readings for All Souls Day is from the Book of Wisdom. We are starting our remembrance services yesterday in Beadnell and today in North Sunderland with these words. But they point to something more powerful. I'm going to read the whole 9 verses, and they really are my reflection for today. They point to the fact that what the world sees is one thing, but what God sees and what the hearts of those who are close to God understand is very different. As we pray for ourselves and each other, and as we remember those who have died and those who will die in these coming months, these words speak powerfully. For the souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, and no torment will ever touch them. In the eyes of the foolish they seem to have died, and their departure was thought to be a disaster, and their going from us to be their destruction. But they are at peace. For though in the sight of others they were punished, their hope is full of immortality. Having been disciplined a little, they will receive great good, because God tested them and found them worthy of himself. Like gold in the furnace he tried them, and like a sacrificial burnt offering he accepted them. In the time of their visitation they will shine forth, and they will run like sparks through the stubble. They will govern nations and rule over peoples, and the Lord will reign over them forever. Those who trust in him will understand truth, and the faithful will abide with him in love, because grace and mercy are upon his holy ones, and he watches over his elect. May God bless us on this All Souls Day and in the days to come.